Hi, let's look at how to make greetings and how to respond to greetings in today's short video. I'm Ajeeth from Capshine. Capshine is a revolutionary learner together English fluency program. With Capshine, learning English is easy, quick, fun, affordable, and effective, and we promise a whole new you in 6 months or less. So, what is the reason to want to learn how to greet and respond to greetings? Well, because most of the time when someone greets you, we tend to go into boring, non-conversation starter answers, right? This can be a real death to conversations and to conversation building skills. You as a conversationalist want to keep the conversation rolling and keep it interesting. For example, someone comes to you and says, "How are you?" And the other person says, "Good, you?" He tries to keep the conversation rolling. The person says, "Great, what's up?" And the other person says nothing much. And that's the end of it. What can you say beyond of that, right? You've just ended the conversation. Instead of the boring old way of ending conversations like this without wanting to, let's look at how we can spice things up with simple conversational cues to keep the conversations rolling. For example, someone comes to you and says, "Hey, how's it going?" The other person says, "Very well, thanks. How are you doing?" A great way to keep the conversation rolling. The other person says, "I'm doing great. So what's new?" How do you respond for this? Well, you could say, "Oh, just the usual. How about you?" So what you did here is you flipped it around and kept the conversation going. You also put the onus on the other person to keep it going, because now you're asking them what they are up to. And hopefully you can continue that conversation and keep the excitement alive. Let's look at another scenario. Let's say you're not doing really well. Someone comes to you and says, "Hey, how are you doing?" And you essentially say, "I'm hanging in there. What about you?" And that sort of eases the other person also to be sort of honest. And they say, "I have been better." Now you have an opportunity to go in and sort of find out, "Hey, what's up? I'm also not feeling great. You want to talk about it? You want to go out, catch a coffee, whatever it is." Having a little bit of honesty sometimes can keep the conversation moving, especially when you feel the other person is not in a great mood. Being open about your own feelings can open up the conversation and keep that moving. Remember, conversations are about making connections, and that's what's important here. Speaking of connections, if you want to learn as a group in a way that's realistic to how we speak and use English, you want to check out Capshine's 30-day free trial. With this, you get access to speaking opportunities. You learn and practice as a group with other people just like you, just as you would in everyday life when you meet new people. And of course, you have a personal coach who gives you customized feedback and recommendations, daily micro lessons, and live classes to help you build your foundations and get feedback on where you're making mistakes. Great, let's continue with other situations. So let's say you're having a casual conversation with friends or classmates, and someone comes to you and says, "Hey, how's it going?" "Pretty good, just completed the assignment that was given in the class today." And you could respond by saying, "Splendid, how's it going for you?" "Awesome. You are hardworking, I'm yet to start," right? So adding in a little bit of compliment, adding a little bit of humor can keep the conversation going. Again, leave it a little open-ended so that you can keep the conversation on, and the other person is likely to ask you, "Why didn't you start yet? It was so easy." The key is, again, to keep the conversation moving and make the other person feel heard. The next situation is when you have casual conversations with family or close friends. A person comes and says, "Hey, what's happening?" And the other one says, "Oh gosh, all kinds of stuff. How are things with you?" And you could essentially say, "Pretty amazing, recently got promoted." Right? So if it's a close friend or family, go ahead and be frank because they can understand even if things are going bad for them. But you wouldn't want to be overly optimistic when it comes to strangers, right? So know your context and keep the conversations rolling through that. They're very likely to continue the conversation and ask you about what's going on. As noted, that's fabulous news. I am so happy for you. Let's look at a few other situations where you could use these conversational skills. Try these conversations with relevant greetings and responses. For instance, an online friend you met for the first time. your bestie who you are meeting after the pandemic lockdown, meeting your aunt when she returns from her trip to London, right? Think about each of these situations and try to construct a dialogue, or maybe even role play with a friend to see how you can keep the conversation rolling. Think of it as a game, a very strategic game. The idea is to have the other person contribute to the conversation and you to keep it lively enough so that the conversation keeps rolling. This is a great skill to have and will take you places in life and will leave a lasting impression with the people you meet. Great. I hope you liked this video. Ensure you like and subscribe and hit the bell notification if you did. Make sure you check out the 30-day free trial with Capshine by going to capshine.com or downloading the app from the Play Store. Thanks for watching.